Welcome back to the Well Grounded Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, let us introduce ourselves. I am Diane.
And I am Leigh Ann.
And we are two lifelong friends sharing life over coffee and conversation.
So today we're going to be discussing helping your grown kids, your older kids, navigate a dream and a desire in their heart.
Yes.
We are going to cover all kinds of little practical helps for this, like how to approach it. Definitely going to bring in how to prayerfully look at the situation and just be that word of encouragement to our kids. So
it sometimes can be uncomfortable, like having that really long range plan or thoughts on what you want to do in the future.
And not to be afraid of dreaming big and having that spirit-led life to not live in fear of that. We're going to kind of fight fear today and encourage the future for our kids.
Absolutely. Before we do that, we're going to go into our latte moment. And today we are going on a different track, kind of in a treat for my recent college graduate daughter. I'm going to choose for our drink today. It is in the tea family, and it's a masala chai tea. And it is definitely something that I wouldn't always order, but it's something that she always gets at a coffee shop. She loves it. It is pretty spicy, I will tell you. So it's
little warning label on
little
there.
Warning label. It's got a lot of spices in it. We will be posting the recipe for you so you can look at it at Well Grounded Podcast on our Instagram.
Yes.
We'll put it in the notes today so you can do that. And as always, we would love for you to try this drink, tag us, and let us know what you think. It would be great to hear from you.
I'm really look forward to that. I look forward to seeing people drinking these drinks and tagging us. That's awesome.
Definitely. So definitely a little more ingredients this time. So I'm going to go, like I said, it has a lot of spices, it has a lot of things, but I will let you know on a secret. There's a way to cheat with this. They have a chai mix that you can buy at almost every grocery store.
My girls love this too.
And it can make this drink just as easy as if you made it homemade. So sometimes I need to do that kind of like semi-homemade thing, and this would totally go with that. So
is it true that chai tea means tea? Because chai is tea. Chai tea is
chai tea.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Anyway, it's the same thing.
So that's amazing. Yeah, we love that, and my girls got me hooked on some. They'll like pre-approve certain ones for me that they know I like. I'm a little. I mean, I do like some spice, but yeah. So that's good. It's always good to have a recommendation on that. It's something to. You're not just like, why are there 50 choices of this?
And let us know what you think. You know, we'd love to even hear from you on if there's recipes that you would love us to share. So drop us a line and let us know as well. We'd love to be able to share that at our next episode.
Having a little coffee and conversation today. We're excited to be here. You ready to jump in?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we are going to kind of share some things about our own approaches and our families, and we're going to get into that. But can you just get us started with a couple of just framework versus some just underlying concepts that we want to think about as we have this conversation?
Definitely. And dreams. I wanted to also say that it's when you're talking about dreaming, this is probably going to be for your 15 to 25-year-old. I mean, this is definitely, you're talking an older child.
Right.
You're probably not going to ask your younger child about this. And it's just a big concept for a lot of people to grasp.
Yeah.
But it's important.
Yeah.
And so for, a lot of times when you're in the graduation season, the verse that always comes to mind is from Jeremiah 29:11.
Love it.
And so many people talk about that verse, and it's always around graduation season, something that's new on the horizon, launching a new job, different things like that. And where we can just really anchor ourselves into that.
Yeah.
So I want to read that here. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." And that's 29:11. But I actually like to go into 12 and 13. And just to me, that just really hones it in. Good. And it says, 12 says, "Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you." Okay. 13 says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." So a lot of
a
times
lot
we
of truth
just
there.
hear that 2911, and it's even deeper than that. And so I know for my kids and things that as we've gone into those seasons, we really go into that whole verse and just kind of really see how can that really affect us and really cast that vision for
Right.
what is the future.
Kind of shows 11 shows what God is offering us, and 12 and 13 show what we can do to participate with God
Absolutely.
and to engage with him in this. That it's not just, I'm waiting, God,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
is your will going to land on the top of my head and I'll know what to do?
Yeah.
There's that seeking process.
Seeking
And
and
we want to
listening.
encourage. Exactly.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's very good. And then we also we've shared with each other that Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. That's a verse that I have used
Love
in
it.
so many occasions, not just only in the graduation season or a transition season, but it's also in a season of life when they're seeking maybe a spouse, maybe a relationship, a good friendship, something like that. So I think that that's a big deal to also go back and think about.
Yeah. And the closer, I love the first part, when you're closer to the Lord, when you're delighting in him, when you're asking for him to guide you, then the desires of your heart
Will follow.
will follow because they're lined up
Yeah.
with his face, with your relationship with him, with connection with him.
Absolutely.
So good. So good. So we have a couple of things we're going to go over. I'm going to share a little bit about journaling, and you're going to share about what today?
Dream boards.
Okay.
Love
this.
Yeah, it's kind of a trendy thing, I guess. My kids have done these for years. Different activities that they have done, especially at the beginning of a school season. They kind of cast that vision. What are some of their things they want to get out of a certain year? Sometimes we might think, oh, dreaming, it's such a long thing or a long range. Well, a dream or a desire can be even a short-term goal.
Right.
And things. And sometimes we have to help coach our kids on developing those goals for themselves
Right.
because without a goal and without a plan, there's not going to be a successful future. It really does go hand in hand.
Yeah.
We have learned through our career and life that we've had in our family that that's essential to success is to have those goals and dreams. So a dream board.
Where are you headed?
Yeah.
Right,
Where
right.
are you headed?
Good. Good.
A dream can be as simple as something that, what are your likes? What are your desires of your heart and things? And a dream board is you can cut out pictures, you can make a Pinterest board, you can do whatever works for you. And it is a visual thing,
Right.
And you can have that up, whether you're in a dorm room or a classroom or in your locker at school or wherever you need to put that. It can be a visual reminder of what that dream is for you.
Right.
I think it's important that you can do that.
What brings you joy? What brings you excitement about the future?
Yes.
Like what kinds of things are drawing you in?
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that.
I also think that it's important to think about casting that vision of what is the future for in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5-year goals.
When you think about and you're 20 years old and you're not thinking about what you're going to be at 25 or
Right.
even at 30.
Right.
You're thinking about 20 to 21,
Right,
maybe
right.
22.
Yes.
It is shorter.
Yeah.
But if we as parents can help them cast that vision and think about what they can be doing to know what they want later in life, it's going to help them be more successful in their current time frame.
And that could be as simple as starting a conversation with them. When you know that high school, 'cause many times college follows high school.
Yes.
Many times career follows college.
Correct.
These are just like the next season to be looking to and thinking about. So it's a great time to say, hey, we're going to walk this with you.
Yes.
We're going to be here. We're not saying you better go out and be successful and figure all this out. Nobody can do that on their own.
Yeah.
The world is complicated. There's a lot to navigate and a lot to do. So helping them to say, all right, I'm going to look to the Lord. I'm going to have the support of my parents. I'm going to have the encouragement of the older siblings that are coming around and saying, hey, I went through this. Let me help you walk through it. That makes a big difference. Sometimes we learn from what we're seeing
what
ahead of
we've
us.
seen.
Yeah.
A book that I've really liked about this subject is Bob Goff wrote a book called Dream Big.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a
He's
really
good.
great book for all ages to read. And he just really hones in on ideas and concepts on how you can, put that into practice in your life. And I think that that's a great,
we're going to need that in the show notes too.
There you go.
Bob Goff,
Yes.
all those books.
All those books.
Yeah, my girls love those books. That's so good. So one of the things that, we see biblical concepts. We're not trying to do a big, deep dive Bible study on dreams, but you have everything from, this is something that's mentioned in the Word. It is something that people had that dreams and plans and kind of looking to, what God was speaking to them through that.
Yeah.
And we see that in those verses about him giving you the desires of your heart, that he's going to carry it through. It's not just a pressure on them. You better figure this out and you better make it happen.
Yeah.
It's working with him, right?
And I think as our kids grow and develop in who they are, it's knowing that, their dreams from the beginning of college could be different than at the end of college.
Perfectly okay.
And, they talk about it all the time in college that you could change your major 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it says it's very common that people change their major often.
Right.
And so, as parents, we want to help coach our kids that, maybe let them see that by changing something, what are going to be the consequences to that? You might not finish school when you wanted to. You might not get through things as quickly as you want.
Transfer from one major to the other.
So
having those conversations, but kind of couching it in support.
Yeah.
And in I'm walking this with you, not in you need to fix this.
Yeah.
And be on that. So I know I was the one that was like, I know exactly what I want to major in. I love checking off those classes and getting the perfect schedule and having the prerequisites all lined up and everything. But there's another experience of those young adult years, those college years, where you're trying different things and seeing what connects. When I was teaching high school English, one of our assignments was to research colleges.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things in my research to teach that assignment, and even in looking up verses to encourage, it was Christian school, I was able to share that, but was the combination, there's a really good C.S. Lewis quote I need to find from it, but the combination of your skills and what you're good at with what you like.
Yes.
There's like this sweet spot that for many people, not all, we can't control everything about it, but for many people, that's where they're going to find their vocation, their occupation, their career, that kind of thing. And okay, what academic majors might lead to that, or what, internships or what experience you might have. So it's really cool. It's really cool.
And I know we're talking a lot about college and things, but this is a broad subject.
True.
That
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. Post-college,
vocation.
post-grad.
It can be, you may not a vocational skill, this could be any sort of, after high school career path.
Right.
So we're bringing up college a lot because our kids have been in college and that's where our experience is in, but it doesn't mean that this does not apply to all the other things.
It all. And to be able to see that and get on board with finding that match for your family, for your student.
I want to share one thing too about we've each had some college graduates in our families, and especially with my daughter who just recently graduated, it is a little daunting to think about, okay, I have this degree. Now what do I want to do with it? And what we've tried to do is give her permission to realize that, you may be in a certain career for a short season, and that's okay. We want you to be successful. We want you to be working. We want you to be able to provide for your family, do those kinds of things, but not to realize that this job that you might go into right after college is going to be that job you're having 30 years from now. Yeah. I don't think that's the world we live in anymore. I think it's changed.
So different. And generationally, just to speak into that, I think that was hard for our generation, even fewer and fewer, like very few people in my parents' generation changed jobs ever. Yeah. Like, I mean, once they got into the career they stuck with, it was 25 years minimum, plus. Plus.
Yeah.
And then we saw that a little more But my husband's famous quote from this time was like, I spent all of my 20s trying to prove to people that I was qualified to do things. They didn't believe me.
Yeah.
He's like, something magically happened when I turned 30. They were like, would you like a management opportunity? He was like, yes, I would. So it's like that transition of just having some experience and having that, and to be patient with that.
And to have fun with it.
Nothing's
honestly.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with you, that you need to keep pursuing this, keep developing, keep training. Everything is molding you into a stronger and better person.
Yeah.
I don't believe that everything that happens to us is good. I believe that when we cooperate with it, that we see the good. We can have beauty from ashes, even in the hardest things, even in big disappointments.
The disappointments.
Or
because
not
that
knowing.
happens when you have a dream and you have a goal. The opposite of that is the disappointment or a defeat. And that does happen. And so, we want to talk about the positive side of it, but also, let's be real that those are hard. I mean, when the job interview doesn't go the way you want it to, when the promotion doesn't happen, when someone gets let go, there are tough times that are going to be ahead.
Yeah.
And we can't shelter our kids from all those things. Right. We can help them understand that it was part of our story too.
Right.
We've all had that moment in time, that it's okay. And that's when, if you're in accordance with God's will, if you are seeking him and what you're doing, he is going to give you the desires of your heart. And so maybe that defeat and maybe that difficulty is actually part of his plan.
Right.
And that's sometimes hard to understand.
I know. Yeah. And we don't love that. We don't love that part, but also to let him change the desires.
Yeah.
If you in good conscience were pursuing something and it is not working out, it is not what you thought it was going to be, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of figuring out, what do we do next?
I think so.
I've heard the metaphor of like, I thought I was going to this tree, but at that tree, I then saw 3 roads that I couldn't see from back here.
Exactly.
You get up there and then you have more choices that you didn't have from back here. And so you're going in this direction, vision. But then it changes. And that's a perspective thing that only time can give sometimes. And so a little farther down the line, a little older, a little more wisdom, we get to turn back and say, hey, come on, you got this. We've been there. And we know that it's going to turn out for your good. So
I want you to share a little bit about your expertise, I would say, about journaling.
My love of journaling.
Yes, because I feel that it's so valuable to be able to go back and see where God has brought you.
Yeah.
I have a verse and a little saying that I say, and it's in scripture, but it says where God guides, he provides. So it really does work that way.
Yes.
Like I really want people to understand that. It really does work that way.
So there's visual people. And I think it's really neat that we both were contributing to this topic today, and that you have like kind of that artistic taking pictures, taking things, making that dream board, or journaling also can be a way to express what is in your head and you didn't even realize it. Like it just lets the pen kind of filter for you.
Yeah.
We're taking the word, we're taking the things that are, that we know that God's leading us, that we can trust him. And then we're just letting that time of writing.
Yeah.
I am not legalistic about this, that it has to be every single day or a certain time of day.
In the morning, in the night, whatever. Yeah.
I will tell you, me personally, like if I had all the time in the world, I would journal every day. Sure. I don't journal every day, but in seasons of seeking God, I am journaling. Like I have my Bible open and I have a journal, and I am asking him to speak through that pen and to be able to get it out of my head. I'm worried about these things, or I'm asking you to lead me and guide me. And so that is a way to kind of see how he's steering that and do that. And so I highly recommend journals.
Yeah. The neat part of it is you can literally find one anywhere. You can even make your own.
Oh, I know. I know.
It doesn't even have to be
Apple
a fancy.
just added the journal app. I'm a little worried that Apple's reading that, so I don't want I'm just kidding. What is she thinking about? So, but no, I do.
You can find them anywhere.
Yes, they're cheap. They're easy to find. Yeah. It is so worth it to be able to do that. I mean, we even, in my family and in some of our kids' friends will know that I even believe during the teenage years, during the early college years, even through college, when there's a specific topic, let's say it's on relationships, or we call them the boy journals, like that you're writing about what you're feeling emotionally because it gets it out of your head. There's so much stuff that gets so big in our heads and we're carrying it around and we're trying to sort it out and we don't feel safe sharing it or we don't have a good person to share with, which go back and watch episodes 1 and 2. And we talk about finding community, finding people to share with and talk to so that you can
safe people
that you can be real and be honest with. So your journal is a great kind of stopgap for that as well. But it's also, for me, it was like writing prayers out and being able to say, you know, I speak this over my life. I'm taking the scripture and applying it to my life.
So I'll share, like, for me, I think one reason why I don't journal as much as I would love to, because I love writing. Like, writing
you are. I'm surprised that you're not a journaler.
I probably have a stack of like at least 10 journals that are just blank in my drawer.
Right. Cancel the one I ordered you for your birthday. I'm just kidding.
But you know what comes back to my head is all those little kid diaries.
Oh, yes.
That we got at like the Scholastic Book Fair. And, you know, we would pen things, our deepest secrets, you know, and things like that. And I think that's where I kind of find that as a little stumbling block to me.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, I'm supposed to tell my deepest, darkest secret in this journal.
I can't do it.
And I don't think that's what a journal is.
No.
And I love your explanation of that.
Yes.
And getting those thoughts out of your head.
I definitely don't share anything
now
that I would not
think
be
about me with
comfortable.
that little pink journal.
Okay.
Or diary.
I had a Snoopy.
With the lock.
I had a Snoopy journal with the little tiny key that's like a flat piece of metal that clicks. And I think for in 5th grade, I wrote my breakfast every day. I don't know. I had a lot of cereal back in the days, but a lot of Pop-Tarts and cereal. But yeah, that idea of getting it out of your head, I definitely am considering, if my great grandchild found this in the garage, would I be okay with that?
What would they think about it?
So I'm not trying to say, you know, things about people and like venting or slam books or something terrible. You know, it's more of just like, hey, Lord, help me filter out the stuff that's of you and the stuff that's not, because it can get stuck in your head and kind of all go together there. I want to share one more thing, because I think we're going to make sure that we kind of wrap up on some, or at least take some time to talk about like verses that have meant a lot to our families and to us as individuals. But do you want to share? You want to go ahead and share? Or I was just going to say.
Yeah, I can go down that path if you want. A family life verse for us has been completely really cool. A life changer for us. I can't remember exactly when that became a part. I know when Tim and I got married, we had a verse for ourselves. And I think as the kids came along, it just kind of became our family verse.
Yeah, I love it.
And it became something that we wrote down in everything. You know, our kids could tell you what it is because they've heard it a gazillion times.
Does it get texted out now?
It gets texted out.
I love it.
I probably have made graphics with it. You know, we've done, I found a million ways. I've given it to them for them to hang on their wall and all that. For us, for our family verse is from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6.
Love it.
That says, trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your paths.
That's so good.
And what happens in our family is, you know, we do get sometimes bogged down in those details and divisions and sometimes the things that, you know, we don't want, you know, just kind of distractions as the word I'm trying to go for.
Good.
And when we get that way, we usually always circle back to that word trust.
Right.
And it always comes back to that.
Right.
And we say, you know, are you trusting that God has a plan for your life? You know, and so that as our kids have gotten older and they've launched into adulthood and launched into college, when they call me or text me or things and they're concerned, you know, they're like, I don't know if this is right for me. I don't know if this is what's going to be the best thing for me. I always go back to that family life verse and I say, you know, are you trusting that he has a plan for your life?
That's
so
good.
it's really where we anchor in a lot of things.
Yeah. And I we don't have like a specific verse that we do that with, but over the years, I've had verses I've prayed over each kid individually, each of my children individually. And we write in, I go through a lot of Bibles, but like I'll write their initials and the date that I was praying that verse for them.
Oh, nice.
And so coming back to that and like circling back to that, you're like, oh, this Matthew 6:33, like, I'll just give you an example. Yeah. Like our oldest daughter and her husband for their wedding. And I was really stressed and not like upset about the wedding, but just like trying to plan and get details.
All the things that go into that.
Yes. And we were so heavy focused on the reception. And I just felt God kind of redirect us to plan the ceremony first, like keep things in order.
Yeah.
And get the ceremony all settled. And just so my mind wasn't all over the place with all these details. And he gave me Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom of heaven and all these things will be added unto you.
Yeah.
And all the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness and all these things will be added unto you. And I just felt like that was like a reminder to honor God in the sanctuary, in the ceremony, and then plan the party.
Everything else.
Yeah. Plan the party.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Because it's a reminder. And I think that's the prompting of the Holy Spirit that totally said to you, listen, let's take a step back.
You got this. This is a neat thing you want to be a part of, and not to try to do it all at once and keep my mind focused. But so writing those initials. So just a fun story. My grandmother, we lost my grandmother years ago, and we all had different things from her house, and she had let us pick things.
Yeah.
Even before she died, we got to like take certain things and have like a memory of her. But after we lost her, I got one of her Bibles.
Oh, that's
and
very special.
I found my initials next to verses.
Really?
And that tradition, because my mom does it and I did it, but I didn't really realize that my grandmother had been doing it.
Right?
And so isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So being able to go back and find that this is a verse that was prayed for you and the date is there, and be like the year of my wedding or something. And she had the date in there. It was so sweet. So, and then
that's really
the
awesome.
Verse that I pray a lot, like when we're in just crisis mode and I'm just like, God, like crying out to God. One of the ones that I really stand on a lot and pray over our family and with my husband is Psalm 27:13. And it says, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
Amen.
I think a lot of things that we are like, oh, it'll all work out in heaven someday. But we know that God He's very present with us even now. Yeah. And so we will see his goodness in the land of the living, and to not get discouraged by the economy or the job market or the housing market or the things like that post-grad, oh no, you're going out into the world and there's no jobs, and just that negativity, to just keep reminding them this is a long game. Mm-hmm. This is your dreams. Are just something that you lay out before the Lord and let him fine tune, so.
I know one of the other things I want to share about at the beginning of each school year, which even though, which I love that my oldest is a teacher, because when we even talk about, okay, it's the beginning of the school year, it's still the beginning of a school year for her.
School supplies,
so I think it's just kind of fun with that.
My favorite.
And I've for many years now, probably, 5, 6, 7 years, I've always had them pick a verse. And I say, we're going to take the next 2 or 3 weeks to really think about it, pray about it, see where the Lord directs your thinking. Cool. And then I circle back to them probably about 3 weeks after school starts. And I say, so what really has impacted you? What are you thinking? And I love getting that information back from them. And then that helps me throughout the school year. I pray that verse over them.
So good.
And so I know that they picked that not because I wanted it for them, but it's because what's on their heart. It's very personal. So it's a great way to really connect with your child and to say, what can I help you with? What are you struggling with? And it's also been great because when they are in the midst of a struggle or a trial, I've been able to remind them that this was something that we prayed over them and we used for them for the good, for when they were having, that time. So
it's a good discussion. This is good reminder for me too, like looking at whether we're transitioning from one season to the next and the things that are just weighing heavy on them, that if we can share that burden a little bit, even we can't take it all away, can't fix it all like we could when they were little. A hug and a kiss.
Dreams and directions are tough because it can sometimes, feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
We hope that today we've kind of tried to give you a little bit more of some practical ways that you can kind of dissect that information,
right?
And really apply it, you know. And I know with every family, it's going to be different, but we just hope today has been an encouragement for that. For sure.
I got encouraged.
Yes,
I got encouraged.
Yeah. Learning something
new. All right,
new.
Kids, I'm coming to talk to you about the future. Let's go. We're gonna have a little family meeting.
Why don't you pray our blessing?
Yes, I would love to bless our friends listening today. And I just want to say that our hope, our prayer is that Christ may dwell in your heart through faith, and that you may be rooted and grounded in love, from Ephesians 3:17.
Be refreshed,
be encouraged,
and stay well grounded.